So today we'll discuss about SAP ABAP data dictionary. So the transaction code for data dictionary is SC11.
11.
SC11 is the transaction code to use data dictionary. So in the first place, what is data dictionary? The data dictionary is an interface, is kind of interface between application and database server,
Database.
right? So through presentation server, we are accessing the application programs, right? Using some transaction codes. So the data dictionary describes the metadata or data definitions like metadata used in ABAP servers or ABAP systems. Okay. So the metadata includes the database tables, any views or data types, reusable data types, etc. Okay. So what is the difference between data and metadata? I'm talking about metadata, right? What is metadata and what is data?
Data is the information and metadata is data about data.
Right. Data is the actual value, you can say. For example, uh, mm, employee ID 100. 100 is the data. But what is employee ID field and its uh, type, length, and everything?
Metadata.
That is metadata. What is data? Data is 100. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in this table, all the fields, table fields, and their relevant data types and everything we call as metadata. But the records, what we are creating in the table, that is data. Okay. So please remember I think it is very generic term, metadata. It is common to any programming language. Okay. What is metadata? Metadata is data about data. What is the data type of it and what is the length, right? So these kind of properties we call as metadata. Okay. Clear? So in short, we call as data dictionary, DDIC also. Okay. ABAP DDIC. DDIC or data dictionary, both are same terms. Okay. So ABAP DDIC. Okay. So this is a so where are we actually creating the tables? So in data dictionary, we create tables and some data types and views. There are many objects. I'll explain each one in detail. So if you take for example, if you take tables, where are we actually creating a table and where the table actually reside? Is it in the application server or presentation server or database server?
Database server.
So the tables will be permanently available in database server, right? But where are we accessing the S11, the data dictionary, which we use to create database tables?
Application server.
No, we are not. We are accessing S11 in presentation server. Okay. We are
Okay.
accessing data dictionary as a user, as a ABAP developer. You are accessing data dictionary in presentation layer. Through that, you are sending some instruction to application program, which is available in the application layer. So the corresponding program will execute and it will provide you a screen. Okay, to provide you a screen to create the table or to create the view. By using that screen, you are able to create that table by providing all required options and providing all the required inputs. But where it is exactly creating, where the table is going to created exactly.
Database layer, sir.
The table will be created in database layer, okay, not in application or presentation layer. But by using presentation and application programs, we are accessing database tables or creating database tables in the database. Okay, so it's just like an interface to access database tables or to manage or to create. Okay, clear? By using data dictionary, what are the different objects we can create? Tables, views,
Structures,
structures,
domains, data elements.
domains, data elements, search helps. There are few more objects. We'll discuss about them later. Okay. For now, concentrate on data dictionary tables, domains, and data elements. We'll explain about each object in detail. Okay. So, in short, what is a data dictionary? So, data dictionary is a interface between database and application server. By using data dictionary, we can manage or create database tables or any data definitions in the database. Okay, clear? So these tables, if it comes to the term tables, this comes like we are talking about both the standard tables provided by SAP as part of standard functionality and custom tables. Whatever the customer create, whatever the user creates depends on their requirement. If it is a custom functionality, we can create our own tables. Okay. So what is a table? What is a table?
Table defines the rows and columns.
Yeah, table contains rows and columns. Okay. So by using which we can store some data permanently in the database, right? That is common to any database. Tables are common for any database, right? So simply by using table, we store some data in database in the form of rows and columns. Got it? What is a table? Table is collection of rows and columns. Using the table, we can store data in the database permanently in the form of rows and columns, right? It is common to any database, right? Now, we are talking about domain and data element. We'll start creating the table and I'll explain each one in detail. As of now, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So, what exactly we are going to do after creating the tables? So, the programs will access these database tables to create the data in tables or to access to read data from the table to display it as output. Okay. We read the data or we insert or modify the data. Okay. Okay. So the application programs will access the database tables to display some output in the form of reports or to insert the data. So whenever a sales order is created, that relevant data will be inserted in the database tables. For each application, there will be some dedicated tables available to store that data. Okay. In SAP, you can find thousands of tables. Okay. And they're all provided by SAP as part of standard functionality, and there are custom tables too, which we create as per our own requirement. So here in between, there will be a database connection. Okay. Every time you try to access the database table, a database connection will open and it will access the data in the specific table and it will provide it to the application program. And the application program will format or will process the data and present it as output, right? Request. So the application program will send the request to database and it will get the response in the form of data. Okay, clear? Is everyone able to understand? Okay, let's uh, let's go back to the table data dictionary screen. What is a client? What is a client?
Portal.
Okay, what is the transaction code for data dictionary?
Yes.
SC11 is the transaction code. So now we have here different objects like database, view, data types, type groups, domains, search helps, lock objects. So first we'll start with database tables and the relevant data types how we use in tables. Okay, then we'll see the remaining objects. But most frequently we work with database tables, structures, search helps, and domains and data elements, views. So we'll start with the database tables. So let's create a sample table. Z, any object in any custom object in SAP will start with Z. It is same for table also. Z demo underscore employee. I provided a name for the table, and here you can see create option. Create. So whenever you see this asterisk symbol, what does that mean? That is a mandatory
Mandatory.
input. Without providing that input, we cannot proceed further. So provide the short description of the table. Employee master data. Okay. Now, now we are in delivery and maintenance tab. What is the option we have here? Delivery class. So what does the delivery class describes? What is the input that we are going to provide in delivery class? If you can see these options, right?
Okay.
By observing these options, you can guess something. What it is saying? A for application table, C for customizing table, right? And L for table for storing temporary data. There are different types of delivery classes here. So why we need to choose this delivery class? So delivery class, it defines type of data, right? What type of data? Is it application data or any customizing data? Customizing data in the sense it is related to the system configurations. Application data in the sense that might be a master data or transaction data. For example, employee master data or employee salary data. So which one is transaction and which one is master data? Employee master data is a master data, and what about employee salary data?
Transaction.
Is it a master data, transaction data?
Transaction.
Transaction data. Okay. So here we are going to define what type of data we are going to manage in this table, and in behind the scenes, it will whenever the system upgrades happen or whenever system maintenance happen, this will be useful to maintain the data in a specific area or specific transport protocols. But in simple, please remember, this defines the type of data what we are going to create. Is it a system configuration data, or is it some other data, or is it application data? What do you mean by application data or application table? That might be a master data or transaction data. Okay, clear? So what is the option we need to select for employee master data?
Application.
Yes. So it's purely high level technical use of delivery class. That is sometimes when there is a upgrades and when there is a system transportation, system copies will happen, right, from one server to another server. So mostly this option will decide that protocols. But in general, please remember, so in delivery class, we define what type of data we are creating. Is it application table data or customizing data or any other data? Mostly we select application table data because most of the times as ABAP developer, you will create tables for uh, SAP applications like any business applications only, right? So create a application table. This is for both master data and transaction data. So data browser. So what is data browser? To view the contents, to view the table contents, do we need to allow the table or not? So display and maintenance allowed so that we can view the database records in S11. Okay, whatever the data inside those database tables. So allow, display and maintenance allow. What is the next option? Fields. So here we are going to define fields, database fields. And you can tell me what is the mandatory requirement for any table?
Employee ID. Primary.
Employee ID is required for employee master table, not for every table, right? I'm talking about in general. What is the mandatory input or what is the mandatory requirement for any table?
Primary key.
A primary key is required, right? So what is the use of primary key?
Unique data.
It will identify the records uniquely. It won't allow duplicate records. It will avoid duplicate records in the table, right? So we can eliminate redundant or duplicate records inside the database tables so that we can save only unique data. Okay. Okay. So this is the option. Key is the option to make it as a primary key. In general, if you take any other databases, what you need to do? You need to write a SQL query. What type of statement it is? DML, DCL or DDL to create the table in any other databases. What type of statement we need to write? DDL statement, DCL statement or DML statements? Whoever have some knowledge on database or SQL, you can provide the inputs. What is DDL means? Data definition language, which deals with creating tables or changing the metadata, which deals with metadata mainly, right? Using DDL statements. It is very common in database management system or any database. You might uh, observe this terminology like DDL, DML, and DCL. So using DDL statements, we manage the metadata. We create the metadata. Metadata in the sense that might be a table, data type, or anything. In SQL, we use the create table statement and we provide all the fields and we define which one is the primary key. But here in ABAP data dictionary, do we need to write any SQL statement? We don't need to write
No.
any SQL statements. Just provide the fields and select the primary keys and save and activate the table. So your table is ready to use. Behind the scenes, it will generate some SQL statements, right? Okay, DDL means data definition language to create the metadata. What is DML?
Data manipulation
Manipulation
language, which is
language,
used
like,
to update.
which is used to like create the data, which is used to change the data, or delete the data. Okay, it deals with data, not the metadata. DDL deals with metadata. DML statements deals with data like insert, modify, delete. Okay, and DCL means data control statements. It is more about access, providing access for the data. Okay, like authorization concept. Now we'll create the table employee ID. Let's make it as a primary key. So what is this? Initial value. If you select the initial value, if you don't enter anything, if you don't enter any value, it will maintain some initial space. For example, for character, what is the initial value? For character data type, if you don't enter any data to this particular field, what is the initial value? Initial means nothing. Please remember, initial means if there is nothing. Not initial means there is some value. Initial means there is no value. Okay, initial means there is no value in the field. Not initial means there is some value. Okay, so when you select this initial checkbox, what it will do, if there is no value for the field, it will maintain some initial value. Initial value in the sense, for character data type, space, empty space is the initial value. For integer, what is the initial value for integer? 0. Okay, clear? For integer, 0 is the initial value. It will maintain that 0 value when you don't enter any value in that field. Okay, now here you can see what is the option it is expecting here. Data element. So we'll discuss about data elements and the relevant domains. First we'll create a sample table using here you can see built-in type. Click on this. Here in built-in type, we can create the table. We can assign data type to this table. So what is the suitable type for employee ID? Character, that is char. What is the suitable length? I'm assigning 10 and provide the description, short description. So what is the metadata I have provided for employee ID, or what is the data, what is the inputs I have provided for this employee ID field? I have provided data type, length,
Data less
and employee ID.
description.
Short description of the field. What is the short description of the field I have provided here? Okay, next, employee name. Can we make it as a primary key? Can we make employee name
Mm,
as a primary key?
No.
no.
In general, this is not suitable as a primary key because names are very common. Names are not unique, right? There might be many persons or many employees with the same name. Provide the data type, some 40. For city, Date of join. What is the data type for date of join field?
D.
D. Here in ABAP data dictionary, the relevant data type is DATS. Dates. Okay. Dates in this format. You don't need to provide length. It will automatically assign length. Okay. What is the internal date format of SAP? What is the internal date format?
Year month.
Year, month, date.
Year, month, date, and without any separators. Okay. These details are enough for now. This is the employee master data. You can also use phone number and address if you want. What is the suitable data type for phone number?
Number.
Number. Here we have numc for number.
Numsy.
Number and provide the length. What is the default length for number type? If you don't provide any length,
N.
what is the default length? 1. Okay. For character also, if you don't provide any length, default length is 1. Okay. Now, so here we have one primary key, that is employee ID. Can we select multiple primary keys for the same table? Is it possible? Is it possible to have multiple primary keys for the same table?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can select multiple primary keys for the same table, depends on the requirement. Okay. If we select multiple primary keys, how it is able to identify the unique value? The combination of all the primary key fields. Okay. Clear? So primary key is mandatory for every table. Okay. How, how many, like what is the maximum number of primary keys we can assign for the table?
14.
Maximum number of primary keys are 16. Okay. You can assign up to 16 primary keys to any table. Okay. So if you assign 16 primary keys, how it is able to find a duplicate record? Combination of
With the combination of all the primary
16
keys.
primary keys. Combination of 16 primary keys, it will identify the duplicate record. For example, we'll take one table here. Please observe carefully. I'm explaining about primary key concept. For example, some department. country 100, department is some SAP, country is IN, please mute. Now let's assume so employee ID and department are the primary keys of a table. So employee ID is one primary key and department is also another primary key of this database table. Now tell me, what are the duplicate records and what are the unique records? Is there any duplicate records for employee ID 100? So the employee ID is 100 and department is SAP and city is Hyderabad, country is India. What is the second record for the same employee ID 100? 100, department is
Department.
Java, city is Chennai and country is India. Values are different, right, for both records. Only employee ID is common. So is it a duplicate record or not? Employee ID is a primary
Duplicates.
key. Is it a duplicate record or not? What are the primary keys for this table? Employee ID and department. Now tell me, what are the duplicate records here?
100 Java
100 Java is a duplicate record. And for
and
200,
200 SAP. SAP also, sir.
That's it.
so now observe carefully. There is no duplicate record for 100 as per these two primary key combinations. There is no duplicate record for 100. 100 contains unique records, no duplicate records. Only SAP contains, only 200 contains duplicate
Duplicate
records.
records.
Because how many primary keys are there?
Two.
Two primary
Employee ID
keys,
and department.
right?
Based on the
Employee ID and
combinations.
department. It will check for both. Now it will check like this: 100, 100, SAP, HYD, IN. In database, the entries will be saved like this. Okay, in database 100 Java CHN IN. Now let's separate city. Is it a duplicate record? Is it a duplicate value? 100 SAP. Just wherever you see the primary key, right, just combine both values as one value.
No, sir.
Combine both primary key values as single value. 100 SAP, 100 Java. Both are not same, right?
Yes, sir.
Both are
Yes,
individual
sir.
values. So there is no duplicate record for 100. And then let come back to 200. 200 SAP 200 second record is 200 SAP. Is there a duplicate record or not? The value is same
Yes, sir.
value is the same
Yes, sir.
same value with
Yes,
the
sir.
primary key combination is repeating, right?
Yes, sir.
When we have multiple primary keys, the combination will be changed. Okay. Now let's assume we'll make it city also as a primary key. Now city is also a primary key. Now how it will work? Now is there a duplicate record for 100? 100 SAP HYD, 100 Java CHN. Is there a duplicate record?
No.
Combine these three. Now combine these three primary key values. 100 SAP Hyderabad, 100 SAP Java, sorry, 100 Java CHN. Is there a duplicate record for employee ID 100?
No, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
100 contains unique records. So it will allow, right? Now if I remove city as primary key, 100 is a duplicate record. There are
No,
duplicate
sir.
records for 100. Now the primary keys are employee ID and department, right? Yes. There is no duplicate record for employee ID, correct? If you take 200, it is a duplicate record by combination of these two fields. So whenever you are choosing your primary keys, you should analyze your requirement and you should choose primary keys carefully. Otherwise, it may allow duplicate records or it may not allow valid records if you choose incorrect primary keys. Okay, clear? Go back to the table. And now, so we are done with the table fields. We have defined the fields and we have provided the suitable data length and data type. What is the next step? We have to maintain the technical settings of the table. So here you can see the technical settings option. So go to technical settings. Before that, save the table. So you can choose local object or you can assign it to a proper package and it will ask for a transport request to transport it to test system or and then to production system. I am using this transport request. Continue. You can see this information message. Specify a client specific application table. I'll explain why you are able to see this information message in detail later. Okay. Now I am in technical settings options. What are the options you can see here?
Data class, size
Mandatory.
category.
Mandatory one is data class. What is data class? Data class defines the type of the data. What type of data you are creating? Is it master
Master
data,
data.
transaction
Transparent
data,
data.
or organization or customizing data? Right? What is the type of data you are creating? It will define that. Okay. If you click on F1, place your cursor, in data class and click on F1. It will display some help. Okay. Physical area of database where for database platforms, Oracle or Informatics, the database table is stored. So what is this? What it is defining? The physical area. So when you select master data, it will allocate some space in the database, some area. Here in database, right? For all master tables, it will allocate some area like this. For all transaction tables, it will allocate some area. For all customizing tables, it will allocate some other area, right? When you select master tables, your master tables will be saved in this area and your transaction tables will be saved in the other area, right? It's like grouping, okay? So if you select master data, it will allocate some, it will, this table is going to store in that specific area, which is dedicated for master data tables, okay? Clear? That depends on the data what you are creating. You are going to select master data or transaction data. So how can you say that the table which you are creating is a master data table or a transaction data table? How can you say that the table which you are creating is a master table or a transaction table? Go back to the basics. What is master data?
The data which can change very rarely is known as master data.
Yeah, master data changes very rarely. Okay. What is transaction data?
It change very frequently.
Transactions will create or change very frequently. So the example for master data is employee master data. So it's like the whatever the data, whatever the master data, like employee ID, employee name, city, phone number, are this data going to be changed very frequently? No, right? This employee ID or employee name or phone number or city, this data will change very rarely, right? It won't change very frequently, correct? So the type of data we call as master data. By looking at the table fields, we should be able to identify, okay, whatever the table fields we are using in this database table are relevant to master data or transaction data. Okay, so the employee salary data is example for transaction data. If we have fields relevant for salary, month, etc., so we can easily say that okay, this table is a transaction data table. Okay, so what is the table we are creating now? Master table or transaction table?
Master table.
So we are creating a master data table. Select master data table. So what is the data class? Data class defines a physical area of the database where this table is going to be saved. Okay. What does the data class defines? The physical area of the table, the physical area of the database where
Database where the
this particular
table is
table
gonna
is going
save.
to be saved. Okay. So that depends on the master data or transaction data selection. APPL0 for master data, APPL1 for transaction data. Mostly you are going to select APPL0 or APPL1 in most of the cases in your projects. Category. What is size category? Size
We have
category
to
is approximate number of
0 to
records we are going to save in the table. The size category is the approximate number of records we are going to save in the table. We are going to define that limit. So it depends on the table fields, depends on the number of table fields what we are using. It will provide some estimated size or size category. 0 means 0 to 2800. It depends on number of fields in the table. If you have more fields in the table, the size category limit will be reduced, like 0 to 1000, 0 to 1500, like that. Okay, since we have 4 or 5 fields, the limit is 0 to 2800 for 0. So what it will define, what does the size category defines? The approximate number of records what we are going to save in the table. So why we need to select this size category? To allocate some estimated space in the database for this table. Okay, estimated space for, to allocate estimated space for this table in the database. Okay, so how you know what is the size category you have to select? You have to analyze and you have to work with your functional team and understand, okay, what are the approximate number of records we can expect in the table. Okay, so depends on the requirement. For example, your company is a small company and there are 1000 employees are working in the company. What is the approximate size category you are going to select for employee master data table?
Zero.
I'll go for 0, because in my company we have only 1000 employees. In future we may expect another 50, another 500, right? So for my case, size category 0 is enough. If you take any company like TCS, they are going to, if they are going to create a table for employee master data, so what is the suitable size category? The TCS employees headcount is more than 1 lakh, right?
Yes, sir.
So you need to select appropriate size category like 4 or 5. Okay, maybe 3. Okay, so I'm saying that we are going to assign some limit for the records, like approximate number of records by using size category. So what it will do, it will assign some space in the database for this table. So what happens if this limit is exceeded? For example, I have selected size category 0. The maximum records allowed are 2800. So there is a requirement to hire more employees, and in my company I have more than 3000 employees now. Is this table is going to allow new records to be created from starting from 2801? Is this table is going to allow once that limit is exceeded?
Yes, it's allowed.
Yeah, yes, it will allow. It will automatically assign one more size category with 0. There will be some background process which will automatically assigns one more size category when the limit is exceeded, when the limit is over. Okay, but it is always recommended to use a proper size category, not the higher and not the lower. You should analyze and assign the proper size category. Otherwise, it will impact the performance of your programs, performance of the applications which are using this program, which are using this database table. Okay, because whenever the size is exceeded, right, some background program or some background process needs to execute, and it will assign that new size category. So that to complete that execution, it will take some time, right? You have to wait. Okay, so to improve or to maintain proper performance of the application, always assign proper size category. Okay, so in my case I am selecting 0. If you select 9 for this table, what will happen? It will occupy unnecessary space in the database table. Even though it is not required, a huge space will be allocated for this table, right? It is waste of database memory, right? So I'm selecting size category 0. If there is any change in future, I can change the size category also. Go to the table and change the size category. Clear? So data class and size category are very important. These are very important interview questions too. You'll definitely 100% you will get the question on data class, size category and delivery class. In every interview, you'll get a question on this. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
And they'll definitely ask if they ask about size category, the next question what they'll ask is what will happen if the limit is exceeded. Is it going to stop creating records or is it going to throw any error? No, it won't throw any error or it won't stop creating the records. It will automatically assign another size category and then it will allow another 2800 records. Clear? Click on save. We are done with technical settings. Click on save. Go back. Check. So these are warnings. Enhancement category warnings. We have enhancement category in extras. In extras, enhancement category. Continue. It is optional. It is optional selection. So enhancement category in the sense, do you want to enhance this table in future, or if you want to enhance, what type of data types you want to allow in future? If you want to add new fields to the table in future. For now I am selecting character like or numeric. Copy. Anyway, that is optional. Okay, now I don't have any warnings. Enhancement category warnings. So what does enhancement category? Like if you want to enhance this table with new fields in future, so what type of fields you want to allow? And these are some restrictions like, okay. So I've added that. Click on activate. Now the table is active. Okay. Now we'll create some records in the table. So what is this contents? By using this, you can check the records in the table. What are all the records in the table? Click on number of entries. How many records are there? 0, because we just created the table and no data maintained in it. So our metadata is ready. Let's maintain some data. Go to utilities, table contents, create entries. Utilities menu, table contents, create entries. 100. Name of 100. In which case I have entered? Did I enter in the uppercase or lowercase? City and name. So it's kind of camel case, combination of uppercase and lowercase. Starting letter is in uppercase and remaining are in lowercase. Please observe. And phone number, some phone number. Click on save. It created one record. Now without changing the employee ID, I'm trying to save again. Save. What it is saying? A database record with specified key already exists. So it won't allow you to create one more record with the same employee ID. Right? It is highlighted. If you observe, the primary key field is highlighted. Now let's try with a different employee ID. 101. Save. 102. Some phone number. Click on save. Now go back. Go to the contents. This is contents tab where you can check the table data. Now how many records I have in the table? 3 records. Just execute this or F8. Click on F8. So these are the records available in the table. Now which case are these values in? Uppercase or lowercase?
Uppercase.
Yeah, even though I have entered in lowercase, it automatically converted everything into uppercase data. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear?
Can we change the enhancement category after completion of creating a table?
Yeah, we can change it. We can change the enhancement category. Okay.
Okay.
So here you have fields, right? You can filter the data. If you want to see only 100 employee and enter the 100 and click on F8, it will display records only belongs to that 100. If you want to see only uh, record which belongs to Hyderabad, click on Hyderabad and execute. It will display two records. That two records contains city Hyderabad. Okay. And you can also filter by date of join. Okay. Clear? Is everyone clear? This is how we create a basic table. And again, we have to use reusable data types and everything. Okay. We use reusable data types. We create reusable data types by using domains and data elements. We have to see that. Now, I'm using a data type character 10 in my table here. If I am creating another table where it contains employee ID, I may not be able to reuse or the data type what I am using here. For example, another ABAP developer is creating another table that contains employee ID. He may select length as 12 as per his knowledge or as per his information. He can select a different length, that is 12, or a different data type. He might think that, okay, if employee ID is like some numbers, so that I'll select a number. So he's creating employee salary table. So you are creating employee master table, and the other developer is creating employee salary table. What is the data type you have selected for employee ID? What is the data type you have selected? Character 10, right? Because you think the employee ID might contain both the numbers and character, and you have assigned data type character 10, and some other resource is creating another table which is employee salary data. Is that table contains employee ID field or not? Employee salary data table also contains employee ID field, right? When he is creating the field, he might think that, okay, employee ID might be a number type, so that he may assign numc 10 or numc 12. That may happen, right? Yes or no? Is there a possibility of that issue or no? Not able to understand? Say yes or no so that I can explain one more time. Okay. So one ABAP developer created a table ZDemo employee, that is for employee master data, and he assigned data type for employee ID as character. And some other ABAP resource is creating a different table that is for employee salary data. So that contains employee ID, employee department, month, salary amount. Those are the fields in the table. Employee ID is common in both employee master table and employee salary table. But when the other resource creating the employee salary data, he think that, okay, employee ID might be a number type which contains only numbers, and instead of character he provided data type as a number. Now tell me, both tables are in sync. We have employee ID in both tables, but with the different data types. Is it proper way of creating the tables? No. Wherever you have this employee ID field, that should contain same data type and same length. Otherwise, there is no compatibility between one table and another table. Okay? Clear? For that reason, we create reusable data types so that we can assign that data type for that particular field, and everywhere we can use the same data type. Okay? Wherever you are using that employee ID field, you can use same data type instead of creating whatever the data type we want. There is no consistency if everyone creates different data types for the same fields or different length for the same field. There is no consistency, right? To make sure there is a consistency in the database table, so we use reusable data types, that is using domains and data elements. We'll see in the next class how these reusable data types will work. By using these reusable data types, we can ensure the consistency between across all the system. Wherever you have employee ID, that should contain same data type and same length. Correct? And we should not allow to create different length and different data types in different tables. Okay? Clear? I'll quickly create one sample program to display this data in our program. So what is the transaction code to create a program? Go to SC38. I'm just creating one sample program. Employee, master data, type executable program. Click on save. I'll create this in local object. So what is the statement to read the data from database table? That is select. Okay, don't worry, I'll explain in detail in the next class, but just observe. Okay, select star. What is the meaning of star? Select all the fields. How many fields we have in the table? 1 2 3 4 5, right? So by using star, I'm saying that okay, select all the fields available in the table. Select star from, what is the table name? What is the table name? From this table. Okay, after selecting the data, where it needs to keep the data, whatever the selected data in the program level, where we need to keep that data records. Once the data is selected from database table, so when you write the select statement, what will happen? The program, this program will interact with database. A database connection will open, and it will interact with a specific table, whatever the table name we mentioned here in the database. It will request for data, and it will return that data to application program. Once the data is returned to the application program, where we need to save it temporarily?
Work area.
Okay, if it is a single record, we save it in work area. If there are multiple records,
Internal table.
internal table. So what I am saying here, I am not asking for single record here. I am asking for multiple records. It may return one or more records. Star means, what is the meaning of star?
All the records in our table.
Not all the records. Not all the records, but all the fields. Multiple records for all these fields, right? Multiple records for all these fields, correct? Let me show you. How many fields I have here? 5 fields. Let me go to the contents. So this is the table content. What I am asking, this is example for select star. If I write select star, output will be like this, all the fields, multiple records and all the fields, right? Employee ID, employee name. For example, if I don't use star here and if I use only ID, name or city, EMPID and city. Now how it will display? Hide it, hide it. It will display only those two fields which you have asked for. But how many records? Multiple records, right? Clear? Select employee ID and city. You are asking for only two fields and the multiple records. Clear? If you use star,
Yes.
all the fields for these multiple records. Have to read. This is the meaning of select star. Okay? It will display like this. If you use select star, all the fields in the table. Okay? Clear? If you select only employee ID, it will display only single field. Again, it's a record. Okay? It will display multiple records, but that record contains only single field. Clear? If you select like this. Okay? Clear? For now, I'll use select star. Now, select single star. What does this mean? Select single star. What I am saying here?
Single
I am saying that I want a
record.
single record, not multiple records. I want a single record. That output will be like this. For example, I want a record with employee ID 100. Execute. Okay, it's not select star. Let me open S11 again. I am saying I want a single record and you have to provide what is the record you need. This is select single star. Select single star. Okay, you'll get a single record from the database. So what is the suitable data object for this? For select single, work area or internal table? Work area. Because we are specifying, okay, I want only single record, so that it will only return single record at any cost. Okay. Then work area is sufficient for this. Select single EMPID, comma city. What does this means? I want a single record with only these two fields. I don't want the remaining fields. Okay. I want a single record with only employee ID and city. Got it? This is a single record with two fields, right? That is the difference between select star and select single star. So it is always recommended to select only required fields. Don't use select star every time. It is always recommended to use only selected fields, because what will happen here? Your program will need to interact with the database table and it has to transfer the data from database to application server, right? When you use select star, the size of the data will be more, right? Because it is selecting all the fields data. It may be
Performance
around
issue.
5 MB. It will take some time, right, to transfer that data from a database layer to application layer,
Sir.
right? Let's assume you are selecting only required data, that is employee ID and employee name. Then it is around 1 MB. that data transfer will be faster, right? So that your program also executes very fast. Your program performance also improved if you select only required fields data. Okay, is everyone clear? So always recommended to use only required fields, not the select star or select single star, because it will impact the program performance if you are trying to select all unnecessary fields data from database to your program level. Okay, the table might contains 100 fields, but in every scenario we are not going to use all those 100 fields, right? Depends on our requirement. We may use 5 fields or 10 fields out of those 200 fields in the table. If you use select star, it will blindly select all those 200 fields data into application layer level. It will impact the program performance, right? Yes or no?
No.
When you use select star, the data size will be more. So it will take time to transfer from database layer to application layer, right? Now, let me write it. Since I have only 5 fields, I'm going to use select star from table into what? Do I need to use internal table or work area here? I'm using select star, not select single star. Here I may get one or more records. Which one I need to use? Into
Internal table.
table, internal table name, IT underscore some EMP data. Okay, I'm not providing any condition. What is the data I want to display? But I'm selecting all the records in the table. I'm not providing any condition for the table. So is it going to work? How can I know whether this select statement is successful or not? If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0 means the select statement is successfully selected at least one record from the database table into internal table. Okay, then I'll display the table cl demo output display and provide the internal table name emp data. That's it. So is there any error or is there any issue here? Did we define this internal table already? What it is saying? IT underscore emp data is unknown because we did not define this internal table, correct? We are trying to use it. Let's define this data lt underscore emp data.
IT only.
Sorry, okay,
Not
IT, right? Okay, IT underscore emp data
Mr. Employee
type
data. Help from standard table to Mr. Employee.
standard table of which one I have to use. In our previous programs, we have created a local type structure and have used as reference. Now, what is the table I have to use? Select star from this table, right? I have to provide this database table reference here. Okay. So now a internal table will be defined with all the fields of this employee ZDemo employee database table. Clear? The reference of this table. I'm creating an internal table. And how can I know this the select statement is executed successfully or not? If sy sub rc equal to 0, that means the select statement is successfully executed. Then display the result. Else means, what do you mean by else? Sub rc is not equal to 0. Else means other than 0, not equal to 0. Then write no data available. Clear? If you understand the if statements, you should follow this. If sub rc equal to 0, then display the output, because the select statement is successfully executed and selected the data into internal table, and else this one. Okay, looks like I've used IT, LT instead of IT. Check the syntax. Now this is my output in the using the program. Okay, clear? These are all the records in the table. Okay, if I use only employee ID, how it will work? It will display only that employee ID field with multiple records. You can also use loop statement to display this data. You know that how to do that, right? Loop the internal table into work area and display the data using write statement instead of the CL demo output. Clear? Is everyone clear? So I can also use inline declaration without using a separate internal table declaration. I can use inline declaration here. What it is saying? IT underscore EMP data is unknown, right? Because it is not declared. Now let me declare in the select statement itself. That for that I am using at the date data. Now do you need to define it separately? If I use this inline declaration statement at the rate data, I don't need to define it separately. No syntax errors. Activate, execute. I got the same output, right? So this is called inline declaration. Okay. Going forward, we are going to use inline declarations only. But for your understanding, I've defined internal table here explicitly. Okay. Clear? If I use select single star, table is not, we should not use table. Select single star from it. Now, is it internal table or work area? I'm using select single star. Now, is it internal table or work area? Okay, I'm using IT. That doesn't mean that it is an internal table. It is just a name I'm providing for my understanding. But technically, it's going to create a work area. Okay, but because I'm using select single, right? Is everyone clear? Anyway, we'll discuss in detail about the select statements in further sessions. We'll stop the class for today.